Imagine a jester in the corner of the royal court, juggling hemp bundles instead of balls, creating bursts of laughter with every mishap. As he fumbles, tossing one too high, it lands squarely on the king's head. The jester shrieks, "Your Majesty, we've found the perfect crown for a high ruler." The court erupts in laughter, tensions easing as the king adjusts his new leafy adornment. A risky shot for humor, but in the world of nobility, laughter was as treasured as gold. With smiles spreading, uneasy alliances began to feel less like burdens and more like feasts to share. The ensuing revelry buzzed through the grand hall, as nearby nobles raised their goblets filled with hemp-infused wine, their tongues loosened by laughter. Duke Reginald, sporting an elaborately feathered hat, stood up, swaying slightly as he dramatically declared, "Let us toast to alliances forged in mirth and the fine art of not being serious." His speech was met with roars of approval, and as the toasts rolled around, more than just the noble spirits soared. They were buoyed by the hilarity that filled the room. Moments like these turned the weight of governance into a shared laughter, where treaties and tension melted into cheer and merriment. As the night progressed, more nobles joined in on the jovial spirit, sharing their own versions of whimsical stories fueled by the evening's liberating atmosphere. Lady Isabella, known for her sharp wit, stood up and proclaimed, "I once attempted to have a serious conversation with my cat after a few cups of this delightful concoction." With laughter drawing the attention of every ear, she continued, "Let's just say Fluffy wasn't impressed by my philosophical musings on the nature of catnip." The crowd erupted in laughter once more, the sound echoing off the stone walls and reminding everyone that the serious matters of the day could wait. This night was a celebration of everything absurd, crafted by the magical herb that weaved itself seamlessly into the laughter of the lords and ladies. And so, as night turned into the early hours of dawn, the merriment blossomed, proving that amidst their worries and burdens, a little humor could unite even the most divided of courts. As dawn's first light crept through the castle windows, the nobles still reveled, their spirits lifted by the night's hilarity. Duke Reginald, still clutching his goblet, proposed a peculiar game. "Let us share our most bizarre tales of mischief, but with a twist. Each tale must include both a chicken and an unfortunate knight." The challenge sparked an uproar of enthusiasm, as each noble vied to outdo the last, spinning yarns of poultry-inspired blunders that turned the court into a riot of laughter. Sir Percival, standing with exaggerated seriousness, recounted how he once mistook a hen for a rival knight and charged at it, sword drawn, only to be thwarted by a flapping frenzy of feathers. The court roared, the image of a gallant knight being chased by a chicken settling deep into their minds. As each noble took their turn, the laughter echoed through the hall, proving that for all their titles and riches, shared humor was the great equalizer among them. Imagine the clamor in the court growing as Lady Beatrice, known for her flair, stood up with a grandiose gesture and exclaimed, "I challenge anyone to a dance-off. Winner takes home the finest prize. This very goblet filled with the king's special, chill, brew." The crowd buzzed with excitement. Nobles exchanged daring glances, eager to show off their moves as they mulled over deeply strategic plans involving dance and debauchery. Duke Reginald, now inspired after a few more cups of wine, leapt to his feet and began an exaggerated jig, weaving through the court while balancing precariously on one leg, laughing, "Let it be known, I shall dance as though I have the grace of a noble stag." The court erupted once more in joyful disbelief, each noble joining in the impromptu competition. As the floor filled with swirling gowns and tunics, the atmosphere transformed into a kaleidoscope of colors, laughter, and wild merrymaking, embracing the absurdity of the moment without hesitation. As the music swelled, the energetic dance-off progressed into a riotous spectacle, with nobles inventing dance styles only ever seen in the light of the moon. Lady Isabella whipped her gown around with flair, shouting, "This is the dance of the sloshed swan," while she flapped her arms, sending nearby courtiers into fits of laughter. The audience cheered wholeheartedly, their initial reservations about decorum fading faster than a winter frost. Duke Reginald, spurred by the infectious energy, decided to declare himself the rug-cutting ruler, attempting to spin in circles so wildly that the floor beneath him seemed to tilt with laughter. Suddenly, in a moment of grand miscalculation, he lost his balance, tumbling into the feasting table, sending a cascade of pastries flying like confetti at a wedding. The court gasped, then erupted into laughter, even the king struggling to contain his guffaws as cream-filled pastries rained down on unsuspecting heads, much to the delight of the knights, who quickly donned them as hats. A jester leapt into the chaos, and with a flourish, announced, in the spirit of the festivities, "I present to you the pastry prince," and donned a cream-puffed crown, which drew uproarious laughter from all corners of the hall. Amidst a whirlwind of merriment, the excesses of the night transformed the atmosphere into a tapestry of joyful sound, uncovering camaraderie and connection that even the strongest of rivalries could not withstand. As the dawn's first rays illuminated the remnants of the night, Duke Reginald, still surging with jovial energy, adapted the dance-off into a theatrical production. "Behold, the legend of Sir Clux-a-Lot," he proclaimed, adjusting his creamed pastry crown. He proceeded to narrate the tale of a valiant knight who fought off a dragon only to be thwarted by a singularly brave chicken. The ensemble was captured by the absurdity, and the nobles encircled him, dramatically acting out the epic moment, squawking at intervals that sent the court into fits of laughter. Lady Beatrice swooped in, claiming to be the fabled chicken, flapping her arms wildly, squawking and creating havoc as she confused her fellow courtiers with her erratic movements. "Foul beast!" shouted Sir Percival, pretending to brandish a feather as a sword. Laughter erupted again, as each noble dove deeper into the chaotic ballet of honor and poultry. The spectacle transformed the royal court into a vibrant tapestry of camaraderie and silliness, reminding all present that beneath the weight of their titles lay an unyielding yearning for joy, even amidst their daily struggles. The laughter echoed through the castle long after the sun rose, creating a symphony of joy that marked the dawn of a new day. As the nobles began to gather their senses, still giddy from the night's events, Duke Reginald, adjusting his pastry crown, proposed one final toast. "To the absurd," he declared, raising his goblet high, "and to the merriment that bonds us and distracts us from the serious business of ruling." The nobles clinked their goblets together, their spirits bright, and in that moment, with hearts lightened, they understood the power of laughter, camaraderie, and, of course, the leafy herb that sparked their revelry. Amidst whispers of stories and plans for future gatherings, the medieval court carried the joyful essence of the night into their everyday lives, forever celebrating the delightful chaos that cannabis had brought to their kingdom. As the court began to settle, the nobles recounted tales that spiraled into a competitive storytelling frenzy. Sir Percival, ever eager to impress, stood tall, polishing his reputation as he leaned close to his audience. "Dear nobles, have I regaled you with the story of the great ale flood at Lord Harrington's wedding?" he bellowed with theatrical flair, drawing the crowd's interest. Picture this. A barrel meant to toast the couple burst open, and suddenly we were drowning in hops and laughter. The court leaned in, wide-eyed, fueling his play-by-play of how the guests slipped and slid, creating a chaos of mirth, stumbling over each other in a picturesque ballet of revelry. What a sight it was! But fear not, all was saved when our beloved Lady Beatrice dove into the barrel to save the cakes. Sir Percival continued, weaving through the chaos with a charismatic rhythm, making the audience roar with delight at the mishaps that had unfolded during the matrimonial revelry. Each laugh tightened their bonds, igniting the memory of that fateful day when humor was brewed stronger than ale itself. As laughter spilled over like the remnants of hearty feasts, the court transformed into a canvas of creativity fueled by the night's earlier shenanigans. Lady Isabella, feeling inspired, stood with a flourish and declared, "Let us craft a ballad to immortalize this night of joyful chaos." Her eyes sparkled with mischief as she called for lute, striking a chord that echoed throughout the hall. "Gather round, noble friends. I shall weave a tale of Sir Clux-a-Lot, the knight of feathers and mirth," she began, instantly capturing everyone's attention. The nobles leaned forward, eager to hear their outrageous exploits immortalized in song. With each verse that tumbled from her lips, The laughter bubbled anew, reminding them that amidst their crowns and titles, they were all players in this splendid narrative woven by the magical herb that had ignited their camaraderie. As the ballad flowed from Lady Isabella's lips, each verse painted vivid images of absurdity, clucking knights, dancing chickens, and ale floods that turned into legendary laughter. The nobles joined in, harmonizing and creating their own outrageous verses, turning the ballad into a raucous chorus that resonated off the castle walls. Duke Reginald, not to be outdone, stepped forward with a flourish and added a verse about a fierce duel between two chickens, declaring, "The bravest of them wore a crown of daisies," while the other brandished a knight's dented helmet. The laughter that ensued echoed like thunder, binding the court in an unstoppable wave of joy. Each noble, flushed from the night's indulgence, found themselves swept up in the magical weave of music and camaraderie, and their burdens began to fade, leaving only the playful spirit of the moment alive and well. In this spirited atmosphere, a mysterious figure slipped into the court, cloaked in shadows yet unmistakably regal. It was the Queen, silently observing the chaos unfolding. With a sly grin, she raised an eyebrow, considering how her courtiers reveled without the ever-watchful gaze of propriety. "What has become of my court," she mused, "where jesters rule and pastries fly?" Her voice broke through the raucous laughter, instantly drawing attention as nobles turned to her in surprise. "Fear not, dear friends," she declared with a flourish, her eyes glinting mischievously. "Let us surrender to the whims of this night." The crowd erupted with cheers, urging her to join the antics. As the Queen began to dance, her gown twirling like a whirlwind of joy, laughter swelled again, because who could resist the spectacle of their sovereign embracing chaos with such delight? The atmosphere ignited with a newfound energy as the Queen twirled and clapped to the infectious rhythm of revelry. Dukes and ladies, invigorated by her embrace of fun, quickly followed suit, their genteel faces now painted with wild grins. "Let us be a court of jesters," cried Duke Reginald, his voice rising above the joyful clamor. With that, the royal court transformed into an impromptu dance floor, every noble caught up in the hilariously absurd whirl, their laughter replacing any semblance of formal decorum. The Queen, in all her regal splendor, twirled and glided, encouraging her courtiers to unleash their inner children, each spin flinging away the burdens of rule and responsibility. Even the statues lining the stone walls seemed to smile, turning an ordinary court into an extraordinary sanctuary of joy, where titles held no weight, and only laughter remained. As laughter echoed, even the guards outside couldn't help but chuckle at the ruckus echoing from within the castle walls. They exchanged amused glances, shaking their heads at the irregularity of such merriment amongst the usually serious nobility. Suddenly, a baritone voice boomed from inside, "Next, the royal chicken dance-off." This announcement spilled into the hallway, drawing curious eyebrows from the guards, who wondered if they should interfere or join in the fun. "I do prefer my sword fights to involve chickens," one guard chuckled, adjusting his helmet, ready to witness the madness. Inside, the dance-off created a whirlwind of energy, the noble ladies twirling in skirts adorned with the freshest flour until one lost her footing, landing in a soft heap of laughter and pastries. Duke Reginald, now inspired, declared, "A free-for-all, everyone join, no rules." The court erupted into joyous chaos, each noble channeling their best chicken impersonations, their imitative squawking and flapping sparking waves of laughter that rippled through the entire castle. As the Queen continued to dance, her laughter blending with the joyous cacophony around her, Sir Percival took it upon himself to elevate the chaos further. "Nobles, rejoice! I present to you a game of Feathered Avenger," he cried, gesturing wildly as a jester scrambled to bring him a sack of plumes. The onlookers leaned in, curiosity piqued, ready for the absurd challenge he was about to concoct. "Each of you shall don a feathered cap and pretend to be valiant warriors protecting our fair kingdom from dastardly chicken thieves." The nobles burst into uproarious laughter at the sight of someone, adorned with a makeshift cap and flop, striding around dramatically with all the seriousness of a knight. Lady Isabella retorted, Only if I get to be the chicken princess, ruling with a corn kernel of iron. With everyone now fully invested, guards and peasants reported back to the festivities, excitement brewing like a bubbling cauldron. And so the revelry grew, ensuring that this unexpected night would be stitched into the fabric of history, with echoes of laughter rippling through time, cherished, forever remembered. As the sun reached its zenith, casting a warm glow through the castle windows, the court's festivities showed no signs of waning. The nobles, still reveling in their whimsical antics, formed a circle for a game of the Chicken Challenge, where they took turns pretending to be feathered royalty. Sir Percival, who had just recently come off the floor with flour caked in his hair, adopted a regal stance, declaring, "I am the noble Sir Clux-a-Lot, protector of the cornfields." His declaration was met with uproarious laughter, and Duke Reginald jumped into action, dubbing himself the Duke of Drumsticks, flapping his arms while feigning a grandiose bow. The court erupted as they paired off, strutting and squawking, each noble vying for the title of Supreme Poultry Performer. The air filled with an energy that was both light-hearted and infectious, a stark contrast to the usual solemnity of court proceedings. Lady Beatrice, not to be left out, retorted, "If I'm a chicken, then I shall rule with both grace and mischief." Her playful antics sparked cheers, and soon, even the stony-faced guards outside leaned closer to catch a glimpse of the delightful absurdity. The festivities continued, blending frolic with fellowship, underscoring a powerful truth that amidst the weighty responsibilities of ruling, joy had a unique way of uniting them all. As laughter echoed through the stone halls, time slipped away. For one splendid day, the heavy burdens of the medieval world were replaced with the liberating spirit of laughter and a shared sense of absurdity that would linger long after the festivities had ceased. As the clock struck midday, a lull swept through the castle, followed by a collective rumble of stomachs that echoed like a royal decree. Lady Isabella, ever the pragmatist, suggested, "Let's feast. A banquet worthy of our kingly antics." The nobles cheered, their enthusiasm rekindled, and they set to preparing a grand spread. Tables were adorned with breads laced with hemp, roasted meats glowing golden, and goblets overflowing with the infamous chill wine. The queen, now swept up in the joviality, pulled a half-eaten pastry from her gown and declared, "This shall be my royal spoon." To the feast. The assembled court erupted into laughter once more, the silliness of their adventures weaving seamlessly into the flavors of the meal. As laughter blended with chatter, they savored not only food but the incredibly lightness that came from their shared absurdity, reaffirming that even in a world marked by turmoil, moments of joy could be the most delicious treat of all. With their bellies full and spirits high, the nobles returned to the dance floor, affirming that laughter was the best seasoning for their feast. Duke Reginald, in a moment of reckless enthusiasm, exclaimed, "Let us not forget our newfound titles. I propose a great pageant to celebrate our evening of hilarity." The crowd cheered wildly, their laughter echoing through the grand hall as Sir Percival announced himself as the Grand Clucker, proclaiming, "All hail the chicken champions of the realm." Each noble embraced the spirit, strutting and crowing like royalty, vowing to carry this absurd joy back into their everyday lives, forever changed by a night fueled by laughter and a leafy green hero. And so, as the sun set on the kingdom, the echoes of laughter and merriment lingered in the air, a testament to the power of cannabis and its ability to transform the weight of life into sheer joy. The noble court, once fraught with tension, now thrived in a renewed spirit of camaraderie, basking in the delightful absurdity that would echo through history. In their hearts, they carried the reminder that even in the midst of medieval chaos, joy and absurdity would forever reign supreme.